You are listening to the oneofus.net podcast network.
Yesterday, on August 3rd, us here at the Screamcast podcast and a lot of people all across the country lost a really dear friend. Dustin Pace, also known as Duddy in Motion on Twitter, was suddenly taken to the ICU on August 2nd for a hemorrhagic stroke. And unfortunately, he passed away yesterday, August 3rd. We are pretty gutted, as a lot of you who knew him are. He was a fantastic soul. Everyone has come out with stories on how much of a nice guy he was, and really fun to talk to on social media. You know, him and I have had a lot of really fun interactions on there. I know that Brad was working with him on trying to get a pin, enamel pin going, and we were working with him on that. He had done some design work for, I think, Cinefession's podcast. He helped design that Splatcast logo, like the 90210 feel for Splatcast, and some other things for us. He did the Stream Screams little logo that I'll put up every now and then when we kind of highlight a Stream Screams movie when we cover those. And he's done a lot of amazing movie poster work and just a really great artist. And we all were extremely saddened to hear that he had passed away. So what Mike Delaney of Splathouse and Brad Henderson had suggested was Mike is very good friends with Dustin's family. We had offered to do a GoFundMe. So there is a GoFundMe up to pay for funeral expenses and any other expenses, medical expenses that his family may have. So I want to let all of you know about that GoFundMe. It's GoFundMe.com. It's under Dustin Pace Memorial Fund. I'll put a link in the show notes so y'all can find it. And please, if you can be generous and give, that would be fantastic. And just a really, these things are never easy. So it's been really cool to see our whole horror community and film community come together and give to this. We are also bringing the pin we were working on. We are releasing it. You can find that on our products page at thescreamcast.com. All proceeds from that pin will go directly to Dustin's wife, Tiffany. And there's 100 pins, limited edition, being produced. So if you can help support that way, that'd be amazing. So thank you all for listening and for all of your support, all who've donated already. It's just been an amazing thing to see. When social media can be kind of a negative thing every now and then, it's just nice and heartwarming to see that all of us can come together when something like this happens. So hope you guys enjoy today's podcast. And like I said, please give if you can. Thank you.
Something's coming.
Stand by. Hold on to your hats, here we go.
Welcome to the Screamcast, episode 140. I am Sean DeRager, and with me is Brad Henderson.
Yo, 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 yo.
We're out of the 130s, Brad, finally.
Dude.
So you can relax now.
Even people are listening, they're like, there's got to be, like, Sean misnumbers them.
BJ is not able to join us. She is en route to Los Angeles. So I'm hoping to actually meet up with her this weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's a cool girl.
Worlds will collide. Today we will be joined by Anya Novak. The fuck are we talking about today?
We're talking about Love Camp 7. We're talking about some Blue Underground Blu-rays. We got some raw meat coming at you, a.k.a. Deathline.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some 99 women up in this shit.
Holy shit. I do want to mention that they do have Stenhall Syndrome coming out soon. It was delayed. And then they just announced...
they got The Lift and The Lift by Dick Moss. Moss Dick up in your face.
Well, they're calling it Down.
Dude, the movie's called Lift.
It's
they're
the
just
remake
calling it
The Lift.
Yeah, they're just calling it... Dude, that movie is called The Lift. Like, when it came out. They're just...
All right.
They're just retitling it because people are going to get confused if they're buying two movies called The Lift.
Gotcha. Because they're releasing the classic The Lift as well, correct?
Yeah, they're doing both. They're both directed by Dick Moss.
Oh,
he remade his own, he remade his own movie with Naomi Watts.
Well, I mean, if you have a chance to work with Naomi Watts, you're going to work with Naomi Watts.
Yeah, I think I have The Lift on VHS. So, the cover art is kind of... I don't like the cover art. The original cover art was somebody's head, like, in the elevators. And it was like, take the stairs, for God's sakes, take the stairs! And I always thought that was a really funny tagline. But looks like Blue Underground doesn't listen to me.
Well, it's probably reversed, you know.
I hope. I like that cover.
So they're also releasing Amsterdam.
Dick Moss up in my face.
Another Dick Moss. So I must have missed the information about the original The Lift, because I must have.
They spaced him out like a couple days. Days. They posted it on Instagram that they were working on it, like maybe a few weeks ago, but they never officially announced it. It was just kind of like a tease. But yeah, they're doing those movies. They got a lot of shit coming out. I had a little bird in my ear tell me a couple titles, and Blue Underground's really gonna kill it this year and next year, it sounds like. So
gotcha.
I'm pretty stoked, but we got to keep that on the DL.
Hold on one sec.
Because you don't want to do a Cinespectral Elvira mistake, if you know what I'm saying. We're going to say we're going to release something. We'll worry about that rights thing. We'll worry about that later. But right now, give us your hard-earned cash, bitch. I may have had a couple drinks tonight, so this might be a little fun. I've had a little alcohol.
Okay.
So That's fine. I'm a little loosey-goosey, if you know what I'm talking about, Sean. Do you like when I'm loosey-goosey? You sound like
you talk to me like that. Yes.
You sound like you're occupied with something else. Are you paying attention?
I thought I had requested the original The Lift. I didn't realize there was two separate releases. I thought I was a bit confused.
Sometimes you got to just stay with the time, Sean.
I know. Okay, so hopefully we'll be covering both of those films in October. All right, let's jump into October's gonna rock. Let's jump into what's on your doorstep.
Holy cow, I almost forgot.
We'll get the door.
Yeah, let go of that. All right, so I'll go first. All right.
I got a puppy here.
So the first thing. Can you just mute yourself while you're yelling at your dog?
He was starting to bite into my wife's scarf that she had for some reason left on the room of my office.
Oh, dang, Sean, getting in the office. Where'd you have that scarf? Like around her neck, or like you need to hide her hands behind her back or something?
A little bit of both.
Dang. All right, so first up is Magnet's releasing of Eyes of My Mother. This shit is off the hook. All right, so this movie is like beautiful. It's like beautifully shot, I should say. It's fucking kind of horrific. It's a story about a family. A drifter comes along. They bring him in the house because he needs something. Some shit goes down, and the girl keeps him in the barn and rips out his like vocal cords and rips out his eyeballs and sews him shut. And they leave him chained up. And basically the film is her growing up, dealing with family issues, and obviously she's got some shit wrong with her. But I tell you what, the movie's shot black and white, but man, it is such a... I mean, black and white movies can always be beautiful, but this one in particular is just so beautiful looking. And it's a slim 70 minutes too. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's brutal in the beginning. It keeps its pace that way. There are a couple horrific, like, longer shots that I thought were pretty cool. But yeah, for any people that like gore and fucked up shit, this is for you. And plus, it's fucking 70 minutes. I love movies that, you know, we have a basic, because it's basic, you know, you have a basic plot, you have this basic execution, you know, you don't draw it out for an hour and a half or 2 hours. You're like, to the point, boom, we're done. And it's, you know, it's well crafted, it's well edited, it's beautifully shot, and, you know, with kind of a weird, gruesome, grim story. All right, so next up was Lionsgate's their Vestron Video Collector series. Did you watch The Unholy yet, Sean?
No.
All right,
I was going to see if we can do a show on it, but that's okay. That's all right.
It's not show worthy.
I'll watch it soon.
I think you would dig it. It's basically these priests are dropping around town. It was a rewatch for me. You know what? Like, I remember liking this movie a lot when I was younger, and then, you know, I just watched it a couple times, probably in my teens. I haven't seen it in a long time. So I was kind of interested in watching it again. But yeah, it's slower. But I tell you what, it's one of those movies that if you hold off, you know, you don't turn it off, you don't get too bored, because, I mean, it is a little bit slower. It's a lot of, you know, has to deal with God and Catholicism and all that other shit.
I'll probably be riveted then.
Yeah, but the last 15 minutes of this movie are absolutely fucking insane. It just kind of comes out of nowhere too. Like, it kicks it up like times 20. But I've always said, like, the movie is definitely worth the end. And I think I tweeted the other day, if you want to know what my sex life is, watch the last 15 minutes of The Unholy. And also, you know, I've had a little beef with the Vestron titles, mainly because they're, you know, just generic HD masters for $47. This one was actually because they didn't really talk about it. I had to do some digging and some research. They sourced it from they did a 2K interpositive scan. So they gave that movie an upgrade, which I was happy about. Nice. Next up is Buster's Malheart, directed by Sarah Smith. Who did The Midnight Swim that BJ was always talking about. She really likes that movie. This is her new movie, Buster's Malheart, that stars somebody in some TV show, like some robot TV show. Rami Malek. DJ Qualls is in it too, which you've known him from The Goofy Guy and like Road Trip and The New Guy and shit like that. We're probably the only podcast to actually mention The New Guy. But anyways, this one is a lot of fun. You know, I think an easy way to describe it is exactly how Sarah Smith described it when I was at Fantastic Fest, because I kind of went in this blind. Travis Steven produced it, so anything that Travis Steven touches, just like his dick, I'm probably going to watch and suck. And so I did. So I was there, and she explained the film as if Bad Santa meets Donnie Darko. That's how she described the movie, and I was like, I'm totally down with that.
Totally.
And yeah, it's really like it's really crude at times. It has kind of this kind of unique story, like some parallel time stuff, but it's really hard to describe because you don't want to give anything away. It's you just get to see this man Buster, aka what's his other name? Shit. Can't remember. But I was looking at the back to see if it's on there. But it's like two stories. You're trying to figure out where one story ends and the other begins. But yeah, I think it's perfect how she said, it was Bad Santa meets Donnie Darko, which I loved. I love that description, and it set me. It could put me in the right mind frame to watch it, and I really, really dug it. It's really funny. It's really heartbreaking. It's everything. It's really good.
Sweet.
Next up, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one just because I think the VHS copy I have is better. This is Victims by Slasher Video and Olive. It's a normal, just an extremely misogynistic slasher set in the desert, and that's pretty much all it is. And it's not a very good transfer of the master tape, which I was kind of debating because I know a little bit about Victims, and that shit was shot on 35. It's not a shot-on-video movie. So, I mean, unless everything was destroyed...
VHS transfers to Blu-ray still, like Slasher Video, I don't understand why they're doing that and all of, just
well, I mean, if it's shot...
DVD.
Yeah, I mean, if it's shot on... The thing is, if they put it on DVD, no one's going to buy it because they're like you.
No, man, like Intervision and stuff like that, like they do it right. Like they're putting the shot-on-video stuff on DVD.
Yeah, but Intervision's even debating on putting on Blu-ray to boost sales because no one... Because the thing is, people don't... I mean, I understand,
Yeah.
Like DVDs just don't sell anymore, man.
I can't wait till they start putting shot on VHS to 4K blue.
4K remastered. I would if I had because that's like my dream is to fucking start a distribution company releasing shot on video titles because that's some of my favorite shit, man. Next up was Arrow's release of Wolf Guy. Sonny Chiba. Dude, this movie is fucking nuts. It's weird
nuts.
It's weird as fuck. I'm watching the movie and I'm like enjoying the shit out of it, and I have no idea what the fuck is happening. I just know that it's supposed to be Wolf Guy, but it's not really a werewolf. It's some other shit, and he's a cop, and... Dude, when people die in this movie and they get shot, I mean, you remember Planet Terror when people would shoot each other and how it just looked like grenades were going off?
Wet squibs.
Yeah, that's what this is
squibs.
like. But it's insane. It's crazy. It's just fucking Sonny Chiba being the ultimate badass, being in this ultra crazy movie that's hyper violent with a lot of blood.
I'm in.
That's it. I mean, I'm not going to talk anymore. Hey, did you watch Lawnmower Man yet?
Yes.
The Blu-ray?
Yes.
All right. So they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Of the package.
Chimp.
Yeah, they put the theatrical cut and director's cut. I don't really prefer the director's cut, mainly because I don't really want to watch a 2.5 hour version of Lawnmower Man. But it is, you get to see Robo-Chimp. And we talked about that briefly when we were talking about Lawnmower Man 2, Job's War. Or was it Lawnmower 2 Cyberspace or Cyberjacked? Jack me off Cyberly or something? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they did a pretty good job of putting it together. Thankfully, Screen Factory, they included both, which I give them props for, because I know we call people out when they don't do a good job. That's because we don't want you to spend money on bullshit. But yeah, theatrical cut, director's cut. The director's cut was only available on Laserdisc, and I think briefly maybe for a DVD. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I had the theatrical.
Yeah, they both look, because I popped in just to see if they did. I mean, they both look great. I don't think they did new scans on either one. I just think they're HD masters, but I appreciate them putting both together on a disc, 2-disc set. But yeah, we have both cuts of Lawnmower Man in one package. So thank you.
Pretty good documentary on that too.
Oh, I haven't watched that. What's the documentary?
No, it's just about how they put it together and everything. It's just a lot of...
Oh, so there's there's Cyber God creating Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, it's like, I think Red...
And fucking Jeff Fahey.
Pictures?
Yeah, they do all their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Jeff Fahey's a man, dude. So next up is Arrow's release of Madhouse. I remember watching Madhouse with my mom for the first time, and she was like, she sat me down, and she did this all the time, and I do this as Willow. I'm like, I sit her, like, I hype it up. I'm like, I sit her down. I'm like, and my mom did this. She's like, hey, I got a movie for you to watch. It's kind of crazy. And I was like, oh man. And she's like, don't get scared. I was like, okay, I won't. And she watched, and she, let me watch Madhouse. Dude, Madhouse is a blast, man. It's creepy. It's kind of a pseudo slasher. It was on the Video Nasties list, and I think it was on the Videos Nasties list because of, let's just say, there is a dog and a drill, and it's a pretty horrifying scene, actually. But and when you watch it, you're like, yeah, it's the only time I've ever cheered for doggy death. Spoiler alert. But anyways, it's really good. It's super creepy. It keeps you guessing. Like I said, it's kind of like a pseudo slasher. It's just a lot of fun. It's very comparable, like stylistically, like stuff like The Sentinel. It's kind of got maybe like a Hammer vibe, but with like a new age, like nuance, like just they want to be. It's like if somebody that really liked Hammer films watched The Burning and Friday the 13th and wanted to make something. That's what it's like. So, I dig it. Did you watch Evil Ed yet?
No.
So, Evil Ed is a movie.
I thought you were going to stop there.
Yeah. It's a movie. If you like monsters and if you like Olaf Edenbach's movies, for listeners that have dove into that weird realm of cinema, this is like a really fucked up Olaf Edenbach film. Monsters, craziness, you have no idea what the fuck is happening the last 45 minutes. I'm not a fan of it. But I know that there are fans of it. I thought I liked it when I was younger, because I remember seeing it, because it was the cover with the dude's head split open with the axe. I remember renting that, when stuff like Jack Frost was, I think it was even paired with like Jack Frost on like on DVD or something. But yeah, I was not a fan. Those movies are just really grimy and slimy. They remind me of boogers. Like, everybody's picking their nose and boogers. Like, I'm dead serious. If you watched an Olaf Edenbach film, there's at least one booger in every movie. And then last but not least, to piggyback off of, this is probably not, I don't know. I have a little bit to drink. I'm not going to cover anymore. But since we talked about Buster's Malheart and about Donnie Darko, I finally got around to watching the deluxe beautiful set that they did. Arrow, I can't believe they actually got a hold of Donnie Darko and released it over in the UK and here. They released the theatrical cut, the director's cut, and I tell you what, I prefer the director's cut, or the theatrical. No, shut up! I made a mistake. Oh. The theatrical cut of the film, just because the music's different. Like, especially with, was it NXS that has the opening song in the director's cut? Theatrical cut has Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. All I know is like the director's cut explains too much.
Love Will Tear Us Apart is in the director's cut in the opening when he's riding his bike and stuff. It was fun because I watched Donnie Darko with Willow. Because even though it kind of has that hipster mentality, it was still one of those films that I felt that I discovered.
Hipster mentality.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like what Donnie Darko is today, like. Young teenage girls are like, oh my god, I love Donnie Darko. Yeah. And people think it's like really deep, and it's not really, it's just a movie.
I doubt their commitment to Sparkle Motion.
So, it's a fun movie to talk about too. Here's my question, because this is obviously everybody's fucking seen Donnie Darko. If you haven't seen Donnie Darko, fast forward for like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So, like, what's your take on Donnie Darko? Like, without, like, reading, like, the history of it, and, like, what does it mean to you? Like, what happens in Donnie Darko for you?
I don't know, man. I looked at it as like no matter what, our fates are sealed. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like that's it. Like you can't, even if you think you can kind of bypass, your fate. Like,
Do you think even
I don't know. I stick the movie.
No. So, like, if Donnie Darko went back to bed, and he's happy. He's happy that he's going back to bed because him getting out of bed altered everything, obviously. But
right.
Is it, like, here's the thing with Donnie Darko in the ending that, is never really talked about. It's like, oh, he saved everybody. But did he? Did he say, like, of course, Frank lives. The girl never meets him, so she obviously lives. But does Patrick Swayze get away with molesting and touching children and having pictures and being successful?
No, and that's the weird thing. Like, I think
because he gets
somehow it's like a weird time paradox movie where somehow
he's sitting there.
Everything.
He's sitting there crying.
Yeah.
Because does he, like, obviously, like, how I interpret the end of Donnie Darko is that even though Donnie Darko dies, people still feel something. Like, they realize that there's a rift. And so, like, he's crying, because obviously, when Jenna Malone is, like, sitting there, she waves, like, there's some kind of weirdness of, like, hey, I knew you somehow, but I don't know you. But yeah, the Patrick Swayze sequence when he's sitting and crying, I mean, is he coming to the realization what he's doing is wrong? But can you really do that? But can you really, like, can someone change like that with just something that's not that concrete to them?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, that's part of the beauty of that film.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a really fun film to talk about. And if that's the case, even though, would the daughter still go with Sparkle Motion, or would they cancel that because of the horrific event that happened? Because even though it's like how many days, does the girl still go? Like, instead of the mom going, because the lady that dies in Child's Play 2, I can't never remember her name. She's such an awesome actress too. But the woman that dies in Child's Play 2, that's the dumb teacher in the film. She stays back to represent Patrick Swayze. But even though he's still like, and that's the thing, is he's still exposed for, Donnie burned down the house, right? So he's still exposed, but he didn't really change even after the fact that he was caught. So why would he change before he was caught, or not getting caught, coming to the realization that Donnie Darko existed somehow, and now he sees his fate, or he realizes that he needs change. So that's what I'm saying.
If she doesn't go on that plane trip, then that engine doesn't fall. I can't think about this too much right now.
Well, no, the engine would fall because that's what kills Donnie. The only thing is his mom, this little sister would shield Stevie on, and the mom wouldn't because the teacher went. But would they not go because of the horrific event that happened at the school? Like, would it just be too much for the little sister to go on with Sparkle Motion and go to the competition?
Well, yeah, probably not.
So that's my question.
It's a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's fun to talk about. So, I mean, anybody that wants to talk about Donnie Darko, DM me or something, because I always think it's a fun movie to debate about because, the what ifs. And people always, taught me things too, like, hey, this actually happened, and this, especially the most important character is a character that doesn't even speak at all, which is Grandma Death. It's a very important part of the movie. But anyways, I don't know. We can move on. But they did a great transfer. It looks fucking fantastic.
It's awesome.
It's stacked. It's got so much bullshit in the fucking Blu-ray. It's insane. Like, fucking shit starts falling out, like postcards and...
Yep. I can't believe I bought the UK version, and then they announced the US version. And of course,
I did the same thing.
If they do it backwards like that, they're not they're not, region free for both. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, but whatever, it's still beautiful. All right, for me, I want to give a shout out to, I got a magazine. this week.
A magazine.
Yeah, Gruesome Magazine.
Gruesome twosome, Brad and Sean.
Oh, I thought I had this up on my stupid Gmail.
Stupid Gmail.
The guys from the Horror News Radio, I believe, podcast or network, Doc Rotten is the guy that kind of leads this up, and so they'll have these names, right? There's Doc Rotten, the Black Saint, and then there's Dave Dreher and Thomas Mariani. So they have a magazine called Gruesome Magazine, but it's just awesome to get a fucking magazine to look through, because there's always, blog articles and things like that. And I feel like any more horror movie blogs, especially like Bloody Disgusting, stuff like that, it's all really quick, disposable bullshit. Like just stupid, like surface level articles. You don't really get a whole lot of really in-depth interviews and things like that. So I believe you can get their spring magazine right now. They're ramping up, I think, for their next release, but this one has articles on found footage 3D,
which is good.
They interview the director of Dry Blood.
I don't know what that
Kelton
is.
Jones and Clint Carney. So, but it's done really well. Like a lot of really great pictures, a lot of really great articles in here. They have one, I think, on Robert Kurtzman and his special effects, his all his makeup effects and things like that, and monsters and stuff. So it's a really, really cool magazine. I would definitely recommend you grab it. You can buy these for, like, I think the magazine itself is $9.99, but I think you can get a subscription for that really makes it worth your while. They do a digital magazine too. You can get that for $3.99. But man, I recommend the print edition. Man, like I forget how awesome magazines are, and having one that's really like this reminds me of all the old horror like magazines I used to read. My dog, Charlie.
Damn, Charlie.
I got a puppy, and he's been kenneled like half the day because my wife and sister went towards LA for a bit, and he is just psycho right now. Psycho. So I'm gonna try to get through this.
I love found footage 3D, so I'm glad that gets whenever that comes out, man. For those that don't like found footage and don't like 3D, this movie is for you. Because they do this in such a way that is pretty fucking fun. I was very, very impressed with found footage 3D. I hope that it gets a proper release.
Awesome. So anyway, go to gruesomemagazine.com and check it out there. And I really hope they keep this going, because it's awesome. In a time where a lot of print magazines are going out, like Fangoria and stuff like that. It's just really
they don't do print anymore, do they?
No, and it really is a shame. Like, it really is awesome to have a horror magazine, especially just laying around my office. It's
Birth Movies
awesome.
Death does a.
They do. But I think is that strictly in Austin at the Alamo Draft House. You can get it there.
Yeah, I don't think they have like a wide thing, but I mean they still have a magazine, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, check it out. Pretty damn cool. All right, next. Did I talk about Creepazoids yet, Brad?
No, you have not.
I don't think I did. I checked out the Blu-ray of David Dakota's film Creepazoids. You have a Linnea Quigley shower scene, of course. You have goofy monsters, really bad acting, and some pretty fun gore. Check it out if you haven't. It's fun. You can probably, it's a full moon film, so you can probably find this streaming somewhere on wherever.
Well, you can also just watch your DVD, because that's what they did on the Blu-ray.
I thought it looked decent. I don't know,
dude. I love they put that like restorated.
It's remastered.
They say remastered and done in 4K. That's what all their Blu-rays say. It's hilarious. It's a fun little movie. That's where it's like World War III, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like a little bit of they're
like
these survivors that kind of seek refuge in this bunker or something like that, and there's some sort of
I haven't seen that movie forever.
Giant rats in there, and Linnea Quigley.
I just remember the poster art being like super cool, but it's nothing like it's in the movie.
It's nothing like the poster art.
Yeah.
Next up, have you recently watched The Craft, Brad?
Not recently, but I mean, I grew up on The Craft and Fear with Mark Wahlberg.
Well, I love The Craft. I got the Blu-ray for pretty cheap, and I think it still holds up. Apparently, the new movie Wish Upon is like The Craft, but not as cool. But very like the whole setup where you wish something bad on someone and that wish comes true. Very similar to the stuff in the Craft. So The Craft still great. My wife and I watched it, and it was just fun to be able to watch something a little bit horror with my wife, and the movie's still fun.
Yeah, I hope that remake that I guess Lee Janik has been attached to. I really like their movie Honeymoon that they did. Okay. So I'm hoping that actually, because that seems like a good fit for, and I think they did a couple episodes of this. They directed Scream as well, the TV show. Did you ever watch that?
No, I didn't. No.
Dude, it's not all that bad. I watched the first season. You know what else is really good? TV show From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, I heard that's pretty good too.
That shit's fucking
I'm
good,
horrible with
man.
TV. I don't have time.
So am I. I don't have time. I don't really watch that much TV, but every once in a while something will be cheap on Hulu or Vudu, and I'll pick it up. But anyways, yeah.
Next up, there is an action film called Criminal starring Kevin Costner and Gary Oldman that I watched, and Gal Gadot. Is it Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
I don't know.
Is kind of like Face Off in a way.
Oh, that's the one with Ryan Reynolds, right?
Ryan Reynolds is this CIA agent or something like that. He gets killed. They basically take stuff, his memories out of his brain, puts it into the body, Kevin Costner's brain. So it's kind of like The Rock mixed with Face Off because he's a criminal. So he has Ryan Reynolds somehow in his consciousness as well, and they need him to help find something. I don't know. Tommy Lee Jones is in it too. This is something that if you find it streaming on Netflix or something like that, or you can rent it pretty cheaply, you'll have a good time with it. It's kind of a fun B movie.
What's that director's name?
The director's name is Ariel Vraaman.
Vraaman, yeah.
Ariel Vraaman.
He did a movie. You ever watch Iceman?
Yeah. Yeah.
With Michael, what's his name?
Oh, shit.
It's like Chris Evans was in it. Michael, and James Franco. What's his name? Michael fucking from...
He's in everything.
He's like in Premium Rush, and Premium Rush is the first movie I think about. He's in Bad Boys 2. He's in fucking Midnight Special. Oh, God.
You're killing Michael Shannon.
Shannon. I kept on wanting to say Michael Showalter, but that's from Stella. Oh, God, too much.
So anyway, it's a fun action flick. I would definitely recommend it. Like, maybe not buying it or something, but it's something that if you see it, it's definitely one of those. I think it was barely in the theaters, but you'll have a good time with it.
I remember seeing the trailer and thought it looked interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it just looked absolutely fucking insane, though. Grumpy
Kevin Costner is great. I love it. So,
dude, Kevin Costner was the shit in that one movie. What was it? Charlie Let Go.
Holy shit!
Kevin Costner isn't a bad. Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks is fucking good.
Oh, Mr. Brooks is badass.
Yeah.
And Charlie just peed on my carpet right now. Fuck.
Oh,
all right,
keep going.
Moving along. What am I going to do? It's whatever. Finally, I broke open my Tales from the Hood Blu-ray from Scream Factory. And I've never watched Tales from the Hood, man.
Oh, it's fun.
It's really fun. I wasn't expecting the kind of... it takes some, dark turns, as far as it has, a point, about, gang-on-gang violence and things like that. I was surprised that it was operating on another level than just a goofy horror movie. And the last segment that shows real lynchings and things like that, I wasn't prepared for that, man. It really disturbed me on a core level. but it's really good. I wasn't expecting that. So solid treatment from Scream Factory. And if you're on the fence on this, you probably aren't. But dude, it was really fun to check out.
Yeah, it's a fun little movie. Like, there's some of that blaxploitation, like, horror that came out. We talked about that in Bones.
Yeah.
I've always liked those movies quite a bit.
Yeah. Charlie, I am gonna... What the hell? All right. Next up, really quick, Warlock 2 is a lot of fun. But I'm not sure if it's worth spending however much this set was.
Usually, you know what? Their sets aren't that
Warlock
bad.
2... I think I got this for like $25 though.
Yeah, it's not bad for 3 fucking movies.
Yeah. So if I mean you're like, you know, talking about these Vestron titles
right now,
like $40.
It's $28. That's not too bad for 3 movies because
I mean,
you can't get them on Vudu that cheap.
No, Warlock is badass. Warlock 2 isn't as good. Like, it's horribly edited.
Warlock 2 has the stones, right?
Yeah, and it has this really weird like birthing scene. When the Warlock is birthed out of this woman at the beginning of the movie, really just gross. But they're not really connected at all. Like, that's the funny thing about these movies. It's because he's just another Warlock. This is a whole new movie. He's the same guy. Warlock 3 apparently is a different guy and not connected either.
Bruce Dern.
Oh, Bruce Payne.
No, Bruce Payne.
Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern.
Payne.
Jesus Christ.
So, anyway, fun set. Warlock 2 I had a lot of fun with. Not as good as the first Warlock, but has some really fun moments in it, and I'd recommend it. Finally, last thing I want to talk about is I watched a Fred Olen Ray film called Star Slammer. And this is like a women in prison flick in space. But his style of filmmaking is really weird because it's really tongue-in-cheek and like everyone's in on the joke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if he would have played it more straight, I probably would have loved it more, but still like it's that whole goofy 80s sci-fi Star Wars type ripoff sci-fi, which I have a soft place in my heart for. So I had a lot of fun with Star Slammer. Like I said, if they would have played it a little more straight, I think it would have been better, but I don't think Fred Olen Ray is that way anyway. So, but it's from Kino, and you know, if you're a fan of goofy sci-fi with women in prison flicks, although I think Rob Hunter said that it's not a women in prison flick if there's no shower scene, and I don't think there was a group shower scene in this one.
Dun dun.
So
dun.
I guess officially, according to Rob Hunter, it's not a...
Rob Hunter is usually right, so...
I know. So I guess it's not a women in prison film. All right. I probably have more, but I'll save those for next time.
Just keep going.
This puppy's driving me crazy. We got to wrap up here. We got to get to Anya Novak, man.
I agree.
So let's jump into news with Josh Obershaw, and we will be back with a less drunk Brad and Anya Novak talking about Blue Underground flicks.
That's why you said that. This was recorded last week.
I'm not, because people are going to wonder, like, why is Brad all of a sudden, like, really sober? What the hell?
He must have been a liar, like Rob fucking Hunter.
All right, we will be back after this. Stick around. Well, Josh Obershaw now joins us for the news. Josh, what's up, man?
I'm doing good. How's everybody out there? How are you, Sean?
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm the puppy is finally sleeping, so I hope that we'll not have any crazy interruptions during this segment.
Well, I'm hoping to not have any interruptions on my end either.
All right, it's been a pretty busy announcement week.
Oh, you're telling me.
What do you got for us?
All right, we'll just start off with a couple of brief things. Just want to mention some non-horror news for a second here. It's kind of sort of in the wheelhouse, but Warner Archives just announced that they are going to be releasing a Blu-ray of 1983's The Man with Two Brains, starring Steve Martin, Kathleen Turner, and David Warner. it's going to be a whole new remaster, which is great because the DVD, which was released, I don't know, somewhere turn of the 21st century, back in the old days when Warner Brothers were still putting DVDs in those paper/plastic cases.
Yes.
And it was standard, meaning it was 1:33 to 1 aspect ratio.
Gross.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about this one. I remember loving this movie as a kid, and I can't wait to revisit it. It's going to be out later this summer. There's no release date yet, but there we go. Man with two brains.
Awesome. Do you have the other Warner Archive announcements? Have we talked about those yet?
We talked about Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That's already available, so people are buying them up and posting them on Twitter, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yep, mine should be arriving soon. During Comic-Con, they announced The Hidden, The Green
Oh, that's
Slime,
right.
and Innocent Blood. And I've been waiting for Innocent Blood for a long time, as well as The Hidden. And I think The Green Slime is just a little bonus, because I've never seen that, so I'm excited to check that one out for sure.
I was going to put that down in my notes, and I totally forgot about it. I remember the other thing from Comic-Con that we're going to get into in a bit.
Yes.
But
well, I had the chance to meet. I met Matt from Warner Archive and his associate. His name escapes me right now, and I apologize. A few years back, when I first started this podcast, ran into him again during Comic-Con. We had a little podcast meetup. So, real great guys, and we're going to be doing a giveaway, not for a non-horror thing. I'm trying to find where I put it. So we'll be the Yakuza.
Oh,
so keep your eyes and ears open for a chance to win the Yakuza from Warner Archive. I also have a Kino giveaway coming up soon as well. So just a little tease for you guys. But support Warner Archive. They have a lot of great things underway. They're really cool guys, and they have your best interests at heart. So,
well, thank you for saving my ass there, Sean.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, Warner Archives is just been killing it lately. So I'm very happy about that. Next up, I've got some import news. There's going to be a 2K restoration of Lady Frankenstein starring Rosalba Neri. Hope I said that right. That's going to be coming from the UK label Nucleus Films. It's said to be, quote, the most complete version of the film. I know that in the United States that has been released on DVD as part of one of those Roger Corman all-night horror DVDs. And there's no release date for that yet. So Lady Frankenstein 2K restoration from Nucleus Films.
Sweet.
Back home in the US, Universal has set a September 19th release date for the complete 5th season of Bates Motel. And also on September 19th, you can get the entire series in one box set.
Cool. I'll probably do that.
Yeah, I'll probably do that too because I loved Bates Motel. It was such a good show. Couple of things from Lionsgate. They set an October 3rd release date for A Ghost Story. The Blu-ray is going to have a commentary, 2 featurettes, and a deleted scene. That's pretty much it. And they also are bringing 47 Meters Down to Blu-ray on September 26th. And there are no special features listed, so I don't know if there are going to be some, but there's none to report at this time. Also on September 26th, guess what? Mill Creek is getting into the Steelbook game. They're going to be putting out 1990s Flatliners. No special features on that one.
No, it'll be the current release just in a Steelbook. The Steelbook looks pretty damn cool, though. The Steelbook will be released on, you said September 26th, and in this email, it'll be $29.98 is the SRP, but like everything like this, once it goes to Amazon and the big retail outlets, that price will drop. Movies are never, especially the first week or so, are never the SRP.
Yeah,
especially with companies like this that are connected with bigger retail outlets. They're not going to go that price. So,
all right, Blue Underground has set an October 10th release for both Down and The Lift. These are two films by Dick Maas. The Lift is actually Down is the remake of The Lift.
I just learned this in our first segment, so it's okay.
Right, and there's a few bonus features for this that might tickle anybody's fancy, like 2.5 hours of behind the scenes footage on Down. That's crazy. That is pretty crazy. I mean, they're both going to be 2K masters. These look pretty damn good. Wow. I've never seen either of these films before. I'm not familiar with Dick Maas at all. I only know of him from you guys.
They're going to be releasing, was it Amsterdammed?
Yes.
It's a Dick Maas film as well. So, because of all this Dick Maas is happening, I may or may not be working on a potential interview for late September or early October.
You heard it here first.
So I'm working on it, folks.
That's pretty cool. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to head into Scream Factory. But on a side note, Shout Select is going to be releasing Joe Dante's Matinee on Blu-ray.
Nice.
That's pretty much all the news I have on that. But as far as Scream Factory, oh boy, yeah. We had the announcements from Comic-Con, and we've got a whole bunch of titles to go through. They're going to be releasing on Blu-ray Attack of the Puppet People from 1958, Eye of the Cat, which is a title I'm not familiar with, American Gothic, and Darkman 2 and Darkman 3.
Oh,
now,
baby.
I don't know if it's going to be a double feature or they're going to be released separately, but we are getting the entire Darkman trilogy on Blu-ray.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. The big news are their collector's editions, because they're going to be putting out Cyborg starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
The Strangers, Drag Me to Hell, Misery, which already has a release date of November 28th, and there's also some artwork that you can see on their Facebook page. And last but not least, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Nice.
Finally. Please hope they do it justice.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure it's going to be much better than the Anchor. Yeah, the Anchor Bay Blu-ray, I totally skipped out on that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Here's hoping that the rest of the series is going to be coming out on Blu-ray, because if they can get a hold of all of those, it's certainly doubtful, because I know Lionsgate put out the last 3 on DVD as like one collector's pack. But I don't know. I mean, I would just love to see all of these films out on Blu-ray and much better transfer than we got the last time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, who knows?
I have issues with the second movie, but whatever. I mean, gotta have it.
Hell yeah, man. You gotta complete the series.
Okay, should we talk about the bad news that just came into that came out on our desk today?
Yep.
All right. I hate to end this on such a bummer note, but this is for all you guys who pre-ordered Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and Hell Comes to Frogtown. That's been canceled. They say it's on hold, but I'm pretty sure it's been canceled, because they just announced that, and they apologize, that it's being on hold. Quote, "We were forced to face another delay, which would have put the release into mid-September, which obviously would have been outside the purchase protection period for all customers. First 2 weeks of pre-order, blah, blah, blah." Damn, this sucks. From what I understand, Cinespectral is going belly up, so they're going to be refunding everybody who pre-ordered both of those films. God damn it, what a bummer.
Yeah, there seems to be more than meets the eye if you kind of look through these. Like, they've been saying it's just a possible packaging issue or something, which doesn't seem like packaging would hold up would cause someone to completely release, or abandon a release. I can't talk right now because I'm trying to read as I talk, and it never works.
No, neither am I.
So they're basically offering refunds to everyone. What Brad is kind of thinking is possibly they didn't have all the rights issues squared away, and because he says that another German company is going to be releasing Elvira.
Yeah, he did mention that to me.
So I don't know. Keep an eye on it. I mean, it would be nice, if Elvira would get a great release. There's an HD transfer of it up on one of the streaming sites like Amazon Prime or something. So I know that it exists. So, we know the demand is there. So hopefully, I'm thinking like if Arrow or Scream Factory or someone, I'm not sure exactly what studio released Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, but the demand
it was on
there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been on DVD before through Anchor Bay, actually.
Okay. So that could be the potential holdup. So hopefully through this, at least people see the demand and we get something from a more legit company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more news. Like, then they're saying something was wrong with like the glue. Like, I don't know. Something seems a bit fishy. So if you're from Cinespectral and you want to shed some light on this, that'd be fantastic. But apparently their website is down and they're refunding everyone through PayPal. If you don't trust that, you can open up a case through PayPal, and they're totally fine with that.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's all the news I have, Sean. Apologies for everybody. Apologies to everybody. Excuse me. I can't fucking talk tonight.
It's all your fault, Josh. It's all your fault that this.
It is all my fault. Yep. Well,
all right, man.
Yeah. I've been working odd hours, so I'm not even sure what day it is.
Hey, you, me, and Brad both. We're all a bit out of sorts, for sure. We've all been working hard. All right, man. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you guys next time. We'll kick ass when I see you.
We'll kick ass and chew bubblegum, too.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. Okay. Well, today, Anya Novak joins us on the show. Twitter name, Bookish Blinko.
Hey,
welcome to the podcast, Anya.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So you're another member of this infamous girl gang, I'm assuming.
Yes. Our reputation precedes us. Yes. We are. I don't know how this started or when it started. Maybe about a month ago, 2 months ago. But yeah, it's just a group of women writers and creatives that tend to protect each other when some dude comes into our feed, talking trash, and then it became a girl gang. And I'm embracing it. I'm loving it.
Hell yeah. I'm all for it too. It's awesome. And you guys have your little the movie nights, which even if I'm not watching the movie, I'm always following that hashtag because it's just some entertainment.
We get raunchy. Yeah, we get pretty raunchy with it and unprofessional and unladylike, and that's the whole point of it. And we genuinely love these movies. We rarely live tweet a movie that we don't like because I think that's kind of crappy. We like to be a fan of whatever lame, horrible movie we're watching. So last week it was prom night. And we're not sure what we're going to do next week. Maybe The Craft or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I would watch that with all of you. If you let me join the girl gang for a night.
Absolutely. All are welcome in the girl gang.
Awesome. Well, can you let everyone know where they can find your writing online? I know you write for a handful of different sites. Where can people find your stuff?
Well, I have a column at the Daily Grindhouse, and that's dailygrindhouse.com. And in that column, I generally go through the list of 72 banned films in the UK during the mid-1980s, known as the Video Nasties. I do one film a week. The most recent film I did was Love Camp 7, the Nazi exploitation film. And every week you can find me there. But if you want to find any of my other work, that's at anyawrites.com. That's ANYA rights.com.
Awesome.
So we kind of helped you out with the Love Camp 7? Or were you helping us with the Love Camp 7? Like, what came first?
It was like a timely thing. Like, I was thinking about starting Nazi exploitation, and that film was available to me anyway.
Okay, awesome. We're sorry.
Perfect. No, it's great.
I have to watch it anyway, so what are you going to do?
So we are discussing some Blue Underground releases that have come out recently. I did want to mention briefly about the Stendhal syndrome. Am I pronouncing that correct, Brad?
Stendhal syndrome.
Stendhal, yes.
I was wondering.
That was about to get a release. A bunch of people got the review copies, and there was apparently a compression issue, so they've kind of held back on the release. They're going to kind of see what's up with that, see if there's any merit to it, which I think that there is, and they'll probably be just delaying it and getting that fixed. So
yeah,
if you're a fan of that film, just be a little more patient, and you'll get it. I have not seen it. We've talked about it briefly in here and there on the podcast, so I'm sure when it comes out officially, we'll probably mention it once more.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, shit happens. But hey, they acknowledged it at least, which a lot of people don't. They let it come out because it's obviously money that they've spent. So yeah, it's I think it's pretty noble for a company to actually say, yeah, we fucked up. Because a lot of times you get that disc and they just don't say anything, and then they want that replacement program and all that other fucking bullshit.
Well, it sounds like they have a good relationship with their authoring company that does the Blu-rays. So yeah, they were gonna talk to them about it and figure out what's going on, and then let everyone know. So we'll keep you guys updated. You okay? Did you drop something? You all right?
Yeah, I dropped something. I'm okay. You can just continue.
Okay, all right.
You don't have to call me out.
I'm making sure you're good.
I'm good, man. I'm ready to go.
Today we are going to be talking about two recent releases. We're going to talk about as the aforementioned Love Camp 7. And then we'll be talking about Raw Meat, aka Deathline.
Deadline.
So we'll be talking about that. Let's go start with Love Camp 7. We've already opened that bunker, so we might as well go right into it.
This motion picture is not a figment of the writer's imagination. It is based entirely on actual fact. Be prepared to let us take you inside the barbed wire gates of Love Camp 7.
Both of these officers, having full knowledge of the assignment, have agreed to volunteer to help us.
Your arrest and your subsequent imprisonment into the women's camp has all been prearranged by Captain Calais.
Perhaps your mission has not been clearly explained to you. For the next 5 days, you are going to be whores for the Third Reich.
There, ladies. I trust you find yourself entirely refreshed after your little shower. I want to welcome you once more to Love Camp 7.
You may find it difficult to believe that this motion picture is true. You may find it incredible that two young American women would volunteer to throw themselves into the unspeakable indignities and horrible humiliations of a Nazi love camp in order to serve their country. You will follow the factual story of two American girls who are taken prisoner by the Nazi Gestapo and placed in Love Camp 7, a camp where women were used like cattle, entirely to service the pleasures and perversion of the Nazi frontline officers.
Where are my notes for that? It's over here somewhere. Well, it's
notes.
Yeah.
What are those?
I have to have notes. I will stutter. I will talk over.
Hey, just do me a favor. Just take your notes and throw them away, because if you read off notes, it will definitely go against everything we've ever done.
Yeah,
tell you what you
very
can
much.
do.
All about unprepared. So, Love Camp 7 is a 1969 film, women in prison / Nazi exploitation film directed by Lee Frost. I believe it is one of the early, maybe even the first Nazi exploitation film that kind of led to all these other ones. I enjoy Nazi exploitation. I am a fan of Night Porter. I'm definitely a fan of Salon Kitty. There's a recent-ish one called Black Angel. It's also called, it escapes me. There's another, Senso 7? No. Senso 13? I don't know. There's another name for it as well, but that's a really good one as well. I've dipped my toe into the Nazi exploitation. There's more that I want to see. There's, and I'm sure we'll talk about more of them. So, Brad, what is your experience with Nazi exploitation?
It's one of those things where if you just go in blind, you might turn away real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah, you need, honestly, maybe somebody that understands what the genre is and where it has went and how far it goes and what the kind of mean movies are out there versus kind of like the more maybe artsy-fartsy stuff like Salon Kitty, which you mentioned. So I think it depends. I honestly can't remember my first Nazi exploitation film. I mean, I remember
fucking this up all
yeah,
evening.
I know. I mean, I got into like Nazi zombies, and then I slowly got into the other genre. But I mean, when I first kind of dipped into it, I was just like, man, these are just movies are just kind of mean, and I don't really get it. And then I kind of got into the, the Black Gestapo, and I got into, Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, and, she's got 4 movies out. I got into that. So I learned to love it in a different way after just kind of forcing myself to watch everything. They push limits, which I think is good, but sometimes those movies aren't for everybody. And they're just hard to watch. And a lot of times, what's a little disappointing, unless it's like, you mentioned the Night Porter, the Ilsa films, they're not really rewatchable. And that's another thing I always find a downer. But anyways, Anya, what do you think?
They're not for me. This subgenre is not for me. But I tried very hard, at least in my review during, the Daily Grindhouse piece that I wrote, that I tried not to bash people who were fans of it because it is a subgenre with a very big following. That's gaining more and more people every year, especially with every release that Blue Underground is doing. And so I can appreciate how shocking it is and how envelope pushing it is, because I'm all about films that do that. And there is one Nazi exploitation movie that I absolutely love, and that's Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS.
Yeah.
But, most of the other ones I'm not really a fan of, and it's weird and kind of contradictory, kind of, hypocritical. That's what I'm looking for, because I love women in prison films. And those are basically the same thing, but without the Nazi insignia. It's
right.
Pretty much the same exact thing. And so I don't understand why I like one and not the other. And I'm guessing it has to be the swastika and the historical tethers that are tied to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something behind it, because I mean, I enjoy women in prison films, but there's just, historically with Nazis, I think we view it maybe subconsciously a little bit differently than we would something like, Women in Chains or something like that. So I agree with you. I'm always on the fence. I do like the more art house Nazi exploitation. Man, I'm fucking that word up like crazy. But I totally see where you're coming from, and I think that is a little bit where it does stem from. And honestly, when we have those films, there's a lot of war talk in the background, and that's kind of boring. With like women in prison films, it's, you know, normal fucking talk about the plot, but like when they're not the Nazi exploitation films, they're talking about the fucking war and stuff in a lot of these films, and it's just like, I don't really care, man. Just fucking get along with whatever you're gonna do. It's very, very talky with war, which has always kind of turned me off because I'm not a huge war movie fan. Like big wars and like World Wars, Civil Wars, those types of movies always kind of turn me off a tiny bit. So,
So it's that context that kind of annoys you.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And plus, there's certain ones that are just fucking really, really, really mean. And like, I don't mind movies that are mean. I actually like that sometimes, but I at least want some type of point, or maybe like an ultimate revenge, or it's very brief and then, you know, something happens later on, like in a revenge plot. But sometimes, like, if we want to pick out one, Love Camp 7, I appreciate certain things. I like certain things about it. But man, the fucking brutality in this movie is really heavy. And this is something you don't want to watch with your grandma, you know? And I watched it with my grandma the other night, and she just had a...
Are you serious?
I'm kidding. But yeah, this is something... And it's not rewatchable, you know? And I say that... this is my second time seeing it. I saw it probably when I was like, I don't know, 17 or 18 years old. And I remember liking it a little bit more. But I think that's because I was younger and I kind of grew up, and then I watched a bunch of other stuff and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually not, you know, great. It's just kind of there. So, and plus this is one of the films you don't hear a lot of people talk about either in Nazi exploitation. So, anyways.
Yeah. And I don't want to turn anybody off of watching it. I don't want to be one of those people that says this is garbage, don't watch it. If this is up your alley, if this is the kind of film you think you might like, if you loved that I think it was Rob Zombie that did it, for
Werewolf Women of the SS.
Yeah, Werewolf Women of the SS. If you were all about that and that got your mojo rising, then absolutely this is the kind of film that you should watch, just because it's one of the forefathers of that whole subgenre. But otherwise, if you're just kind of a middle of the road horror fan, this is a little this is one of the more skippable ones for me.
Yeah. Well, I think it's of note, as like you guys have said, that it is kind of, you know, the grandfather of this subgenre. And the reason why I like films like Salon Kitty and oh gosh, what else was
Black Angel?
I saying? No, Night Porter and Black Angel. They're like, Salon Kitty is like based off of a real historical event. It's based off, there's an event called the Salon Kitty Incident, and where they took over a brothel in Berlin. There were wiretaps on all the prostitutes, and they're trying to, you know, spy on Nazi Party and foreign dignitaries and things like that. And they were trying, like, that's actually a real fascinating, you know, piece of World War II. So that makes that movie very interesting and, you know, like, I think watchable and even rewatchable. And they treat everything, like, you actually get to know, I believe, like, the women in this brothel, and you kind of, you know, get to see the things that they're going through, and you kind of, you know, latch onto a couple, and you really care. Like, the problem with Love Camp 7 is, you're told the story. The story's been retold by an English gentleman who was in the war. He's telling another young guy about the war and this incident. You don't really get a chance to latch on to the two main characters who are the spies that go into this brothel, or this brothel war camp or whatever, into Love Camp 7. You kind of know who they are. They get put in there, and there's a few things of exposition, and then it's just, you know, brutal moment after uncomfortable moment. Like, there's just so much of that and so little story about these two characters that it gets frustrating. And it's not, you know, by the end of the movie, when things go down, it doesn't feel as satisfying.
Yeah, it feels like no one's overcoming anything. And the thing with what you're talking about, there's, you know, the same things go on, but there's something like erotic about, you know, like Black Angel and stuff like that. It's
well,
more
Black Angel is like this kind of star-crossed lovers in a way,
right?
Know,
but there's a little bit more. There's sensuality to it. It's a little more erotic. Like Love Camp 7 is just like, let's see how far. Like, what is the fucking scene where they like hang them up by their like back of their hands and they just beat their ass for like 10 minutes? It's like
it's
montage.
Voyeuristic.
Yeah, maybe a montage on this one.
If you're into that voyeurism thing where people are beaten, then this is the film for you. But it's not really for me. And you're right. You don't really get to know the women characters, and their revenge is pretty short lived. It's not very satisfying. Mm-hmm. But then again, that might be my feminazi bias sneaking in there, because it really isn't supposed to be a feminist film,
right?
And so maybe
I didn't get that at all.
Things in there.
Even
though I will note, they do pass the Bechdel test. Bechdel. What? How do you pronounce it? I've only ever read.
I've always said Bechdel test, but I probably pronounced it wrong.
Yeah. I always say Bechdel test. Yeah.
All
right, we could be wrong, but hey.
It's one of those bookworm problems where you only read the word and you never actually have to say it out loud, and then you sound like an idiot on a podcast. There you
go. I've never seen the movie Salo or 120 Days of Sodom. I felt that movie. I mean, I've just heard stories of it, and it's pretty relentless. Like I felt like this was like that version of that. I mean, the Salo came like after this one, so.
Salo's a little bit different. I mean, it's
probably different. Yeah, I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's not, honestly, like, of all the Nazi exploitation films I've seen, this is probably the roughest. And it's bizarre because it's like the first. Like you would think that maybe like they would test the waters and then something would come out like, quote unquote groundbreaking that was a little bit rougher and harder. But this is like right out of the gate, they came out with this one. And it was, and to speak on behalf of, the director, he has made a lot of like hardcore, like women empowerment films where women do take revenge the entire time. I mean, there's, I was talking about the films the other day. He does Police Women is a film where he has an basically all lady cop girl gang that just or actually no it's a girl cop infiltrating an all girl gang. And he has that. He also has that film I was talking about it, Dixie Dynamite. And it's about two girls that kind of take over. So anyways, it's just, he did make up for it, I guess, a little bit, but the film is still, I don't know. But I agree with Anya. It's not for me. If you like the hardcore brutality stuff, exploitation films that are just mean, yeah, this is definitely for you. But for people that are kind of on the fence of that stuff, no.
Yeah, not for casual kind of movie collectors, I think. Like I said, this is, if you're into Nazi exploitation, like this is a good, like you've probably been waiting for this to come out anyway. Right. And this is a good kind of, if you're collecting Nazi exploitation films, like this is, this is the one, like this is the one that kind of started it all. There's a documentary on this, about an hour long. I think it's directed or produced by Charles Band, of all people, called Nazi-thon, Decadence and Destruction.
Do it. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So it's interesting. Like they kind of play it like more tongue in cheek. I was kind of I wasn't as satisfied with it because I was looking for, because this kind of subgenre is ripe for like a documentary about it, and something that I think would take it seriously instead of kind of poking fun at it. Especially after watching this film, I was like, this is a really weird documentary. That's kind of tongue in cheek about Nazi exploitation after watching all these, women being tortured and raped. Not really seeing the fun in this, but like I said, as a piece of history, I think this is an interesting film, and like Blue Underground kind of tackling that release, like I think I can respect that.
Yeah. I should note that there is rape in this film. There's sexual assault. There's nude flagellation. There's a lot of full frontal nudity. If you're looking for Lady Bush, you're going to get it. There's boobs. There's even implied cunnilingus. That was my favorite one to write down. They didn't actually show the cunnilingus, but there was definitely the implication. There were slurping sounds. There was the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be cunnilingus. I bet you that's what pissed off the conservative censors the most, is the implied cunnilingus. We can't have her being pleasured.
We cannot at all.
You know, I heard that noise and I thought it was just like a speaker issue, like my speaker popped or something.
I know cunnilingus when I hear it. That's cunnilingus.
So I was like, wait a second, is that what's happening? But yeah, it's definitely a hard watch for those that are on the fence. So this is something that's not a popcorn flick where you're going to be like snuggled up and watching, you know, a women in prison film. Yeah.
I actually bought this instead of requesting a review copy because I was like, Nazi exploitation, let's do this, you know?
How are you feeling about that purchase now?
Yeah, well, you know, some very nice person in Canada has just taken this off my hands for the price I bought it for. So,
awesome.
You know, it's fine. But like I said, like just because we're not into it doesn't, and I don't want to reflect anything negative on if you're a person who does enjoy this film. Like if you do and you understand the history, like
there's definitely an audience.
I would say this is a very good representation of this film. There's a lot to dig through, and the little booklet is really cool. It's a little by Paolo Zalati. A little essay called "The History of Nazi Exploitation," and it talks about all the films that we've been talking about here. And it's a quick read, but it's very, you know, they cover a lot, and it's not condescending to the genre or the film, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So,
like we are.
I tried so hard.
I don't think we're being.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Come on. I'm surprised that there's no like commentary by some sort of historian or anything like that. Like I feel like there's some missed opportunity, I think, for this film, but maybe they couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, they usually have that kind of thing, don't they? Usually have like, I think for Tenebrae, they had like an Argento expert. Like this person had for the Stendhal syndrome. Yeah. They had like a person whose like entire life's work was Argento, and they did a commentary. So I'm surprised that they didn't have anything like that for Nazi exploitation. Because I'm sure there's someone out there who's
there's got to be
got a concentration in Nazi film studies.
I mean, for me, it's one of the most interesting subgenres, you know, out there. Like I said, I've gravitated towards the more kind of erotic thriller type ones. Mm-hmm. Like I think Night Porter there's a Criterion release of it, and I think that's actually a really stunning film and like a very beautiful film, but also very interesting and so there's hard to watch moments in that movie too. But there's a lot to think about with that film, like. You know, because there's that moment in The Night Porter when the wars ended, and they, you know, these two who've had this past, one being a Nazi, one being a captive woman, meet up and bump into each other or in the hotel later on after the war. And I'm sure all that stuff happened. So I think about that stuff. You know, that's a fascinating time in history when like. The almost like the most brutal warfare was going on, and all of a sudden the war ended, and here everyone is in Europe just trying to get by, you know, with their lives, including former Nazis. I mean, it's just fascinating to think about.
That one in particular, Night Porter, I haven't seen yet. I've only seen a few of the Nazi exploitation movies because it's not really my thing. But
I would recommend that. Like Salon Kitty
that one is a little more erotic than brutal, and it's
a story. It's about a relationship. Like it's very much about this odd relationship through this time.
So it's got a little.
I would definitely recommend it.
It's got a little something to it.
Oh yeah.
Those films are actually pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Yeah. It's not even on the same wavelength as Love Camp 7, really, other than it just deals with Nazis.
Yeah. So I'd say even if you didn't like Love Camp 7, if you think that's all what Nazi exploitation is, like venture out. Like there's other ones. Like what would you guys recommend? Like Brad, you mentioned, was it the She whatever?
Ilsa's Woman.
Ilsa.
Ilsa films. There's 4 of them. But yeah, the Black Gestapo, which I think is also directed by Lee Frost. Okay. That's out. I forget who. Someone put that out recently, I thought. But yeah, I think what you mentioned in those, I think that's a good place to start. And then if you dig those, then maybe dig deeper with some of the other stuff. And there's some modern Nazi exploitation films. God, I just can't fucking say it. I swear to God.
Iron Sky. Iron Sky about moon Nazis.
Yeah. Iron Sky. Yeah. It's not great.
It's not Nazi exploitation.
Hey, well, it's kind of. It wants
yeah.
to be. I think I don't think you can recreate a lot of these genres anymore. You can only kind of homage them and kind of try to reinvent them. And I think that's what a few of these filmmakers have done.
Yeah.
I think Iron Sky is one of those films that's kind of Nazi exploitation, but without being as problematic. # problematic.
Right.
It's a little bit more woke friendly, I would say. In that it's just campy. It's just campy trash, and it's the good kind of campy trash.
Definitely. Have you seen the Verhoeven film? Is it Black Book?
No, I haven't.
It's another one that deals with World War II, and there's some scenes where our main character has to go in and she gets captured, and there's some brief scenes that remind me of kind of Nazi exploitation, but it's Verhoeven, so it's a really well done film.
Heavy hitter to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, can we move on from Nazi exploitation?
Sure.
Please.
So I don't have to say it anymore.
I was curious because I was watching this, Anya, and I was thinking, I was like, I really wonder what, because what a woman would think about this film.
What
so I was like, there was nothing.
Would think about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know my wife for sure would have a lot of problems with this film, but yes, it's, I'm wondering what the culture was like in 1969 too. Like, I try to think about that too. Like, what was, where was feminism in 1969? Like, what was going on? And
right. And with a lot of European films, a lot of these exploitation films came about because a lot of especially in Italy, because their censorship laws kind of relaxed a little bit. They didn't have to adhere to these very strict rules with the content of their films, and so they decided to just go hog wild. And you got, your Bava films, you got your Fulci films, you got your Nazi exploitation films, and so a lot of them went nuts with it. And I can't hate on that, that freedom that they had creatively. It's just sometimes the execution and the end product wasn't for me, but it might be for you, listener.
Right. All right. Awesome. Let's move on to the next movie here. This is 1972's Raw Meat.
Oh, yeah.
AKA Deathline.
I'm glad you said it.
Beneath modern London, in plague-ridden tunnels, a tribe of once human. Neither men nor women, they are less than animals. The raw meat of the human race, who stalks those deadly shadows. Whose cry echoes their horror, whose blood will flow when they strike again.
Fuck this Deathline title, Blue Underground.
I don't know where Deathline came from, because once I found out it was Raw Meat, I was like, oh, okay, well, I've heard of this film. Like, I hadn't seen it. Exactly. But when I saw their cover of some crazy guy in a subway,
it's basically the cover of the
like
DVD.
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
Okay. Rob Zombie in a subway. I don't know what this is. Right. I don't know what Deathline is. But then I, flipped over the cover and I see this amazing artwork for Raw Meat. I was like, oh shit, okay, I've heard of this.
Exactly.
So
you had messaged me about this movie, and I was like, well, yeah, I think I've seen it. I looked it up really quick before I sent you an answer, and I was like, oh, Raw Meat. Yes, I know this one. This is the Donald Pleasance one. Yes, totally seen it, and I loved it.
Donald Pleasance as Inspector Calhoun. He is trying to figure out why people are possibly disappearing in a nearby subway. And it turns out that this lone descendant of underground cannibals is picking off people one by one.
Darn tootin'.
And it's up to Donald Pleasance to find out what's up.
And drink tea.
Lots of tea.
And drink a lot of tea.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
He's like a tea connoisseur. He's like those people that are really, I mean, I like coffee, but I'm not crazy. Like I was in a coffee shop once and I asked for sugar and this guy looked at me like I was just like an idiot. He's like, we have honey.
Philistine.
Yeah. How dare I ask for sugar in my coffee? This is Ethiopian. How dare you? There's some honey over there if you want it sweet.
By what right,
How
sir?
dare you drink the sweet? But yeah, when Donald Pleasance like, when she says, well, he goes, do you have any tea? And she goes, well, we have tea bags. And then he's like, tea bags? You know, what the hell?
He he has disdain for everybody he works with in this film. And I kind of love it. He's kind of
he's a total dick, yeah.
Right. He bitches about tea. He bitches when he gets a possible case to work on. He bitches about the incompetence of the constables. He bitches about the missing persons he's supposed to be finding. He is 300% over everyone's shit, and he doesn't mind letting everyone know it. And I'm kind of loving it. At one point in a missing persons investigation, he questions a witness who claims to have seen that person just before they disappeared again. And he acts like a complete dick to this poor guy. He interrogates him. He accuses him of theft. And before the witness leaves, Inspector Calhoun shouts, and get a haircut. Like, if this movie were made today, he would have been the guy that called the witness like a snowflake libtard or whatever. Whatever the British equivalent of that pithy insult attempt would be. He was awesome in this role. I think he was having a lot of fun with this role.
Yeah, no, he's the highlight. I think that was Sean's favorite part. Part 2 was...
and the one scene of him and Christopher Lee.
Yes!
I was like, you know, I want dinner with Andre, but with Christopher Lee and Donald Pleasance.
The exchange was so good. The dialogue in that scene. It was wonderful. I had a good time with that.
Yeah.
And
I wanted more. I was like, where is he coming back? When's Christopher Lee coming back? Right. And he never came back.
And it was, I think they had worked with each other before, Donald Pleasance and Christopher Lee. I don't know. They had to have, right? I have no idea. But they were both up for the role of Sam Loomis in the Halloween series.
Oh.
And Christopher Lee was up for the role, but he turned it down. And I read somewhere that he regretted that decision, which is kind of cool. And Christopher Lee is there in all of his Christopher Lee goodness.
I'm trying to picture Christopher Lee as Sam Loomis right now. I don't know if it works. Yeah. I can't do it.
He would be a little more serious. The thing that's great about Donald Pleasance is, like, Donald Pleasance has a way of hamming it up, but still, like, somehow remaining, like, a little bit grounded. Like, you're kind of like, yeah, I get this guy, but I don't know, because he was in Phenomena that we talked about last week, and, you know, trying to do, like, a Scottish accent. And then he's here, this pretentious tea drinker, and then the Halloween films he goes crazy, he goes nuts.
Well, yeah, it's always he's on the verge of losing. Yeah, he's on the verge of like losing it in Halloween, and then but I mean that shows that I guess range we can call it, right. But I mean having kind of that borderline like kind of crazy doctor who is super serious at times, but at times it looks like he's losing it. Then you get to like Deathline where he's, very condescending and a total dick. And then in Phenomena, he's kind of caring, So, I mean, that's 3 films like right there where he's, he does, utilize what he has. He's a decent actor, and he's very memorable in his movies. And that's what I like about him, is that it's very much, you can remember when Donald Pleasence was in a film, because he does impact. He has that just that look on screen. He just has that feeling. He always takes that character and makes it memorable, and that's what I like about him. I wouldn't be able to see Christopher Lee as Loomis right now. That's tough.
Nah.
It is a little weird. I'm glad Donald Pleasence got the role.
I feel like this tall, dark, and daunting doctor who isn't afraid of Michael Myers. That's what I think. Because what Donald Pleasence is, he's legitimately scared to death. Mm-hmm. And Christopher Lee's a good actor, but I don't know if I've ever seen Christopher Lee pull something like that off. He always plays like that dark and brooding character. Very, just very not carefree, I guess you could say, but kind of empathetic, I don't know. I don't see it, but I do like them together in this film when they meet in the, what is a person's house or whatever.
Yes.
It's a really good exchange.
That guy. Yeah. He's like a well-to-do missing person who also happens to be a civil servant. And he's got this, the exchange between them is amazing. And Christopher Lee has this sweet line. I wrote it down here. Your dainty little footsteps are echoing in places where one is well advised to tread lightly. And it was like this total
such a Christopher Lee line.
Right. It was like, walk away. This is none of your concern. And then the best part happens is, what was his name? Donald Pleasence. He mouths back to him. He goes, fuck you. But super quiet. And I had to turn back the scene and put it really loud. Did he really just say that? Did Donald Pleasence just say fuck you? And he really did. The whole scene between them is one with some really great dialogue. And I kind of wish that we could get our own little spin-off movie of just the two of them hating each other, like this buddy cop kind of movie.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be amazing.
Oh, man, a buddy cop movie with both of them? Yeah.
Right. It is established in that 3-5 minutes that they have a strained history and that they hate each other's fucking guts. And I need that to be a full feature-length movie.
Because Christopher Lee's he's like an he's like a James Bond type guy. He's like MI5 or whatever.
He's an MI5 agent, yeah. And he kind of apparates into the room in the very beginning. He just pops up out of nowhere. And he disappears just as quickly too.
It's I feel like he was just around for the weekend or something. They're like, we got to work him in here.
It's Christopher Lee. Can't pass this up.
I'm curious how his involvement, happened in this film, because he wasn't a struggling actor at that time. In 1972, he had done a whole lot of Hammer horror stuff. He was a well-known name in 1972. Yeah.
He went with this.
Maybe in the booklet they'll have a little thing about maybe I had the booklet I should have read.
Refer
some
to
information in here.
Found it. It's a different cut. That's what it is.
Raw Meat's a different cut or Deathline? Is Deathline UK cut?
So basically it's called Deathline in the UK. Came out over there. The US picked it up, recut it, and then titled it Raw Meat. So Deathline is cut a little bit differently, and it looks like there's some added scenes. But yeah, that's the reason why. So they give us the Deathline cut, and that's the reason why they wanted to stick to Deathline, to make sure that the people did not think it was the Raw Meat cut. They wanted the fully uncut and not really uncensored, but just kind of what the Gary Sherman originally intended, which I guess is the Deathline cut.
Right.
So that's the reason why.
If they released it as Raw Meat, they would get all these questions. Is it the uncut version? Is it a UK version? Deathline is uncut. Is it uncut?
So sorry, Blue Underground has given you shit. But yeah, I do prefer the title Raw Meat just because it sounds more badass, and that's what I grew up on. Honestly, I've seen Raw Meat probably 10 times in my life. I don't know. I didn't notice anything. Maybe it's something small. Maybe just some scenes are rearranged, because I can't memorize scenes in order. Maybe that's what it was.
All right, I have information about how Christopher Lee got involved.
Maybe we should if we research this like a real show. That would be so cool.
Well, why? We
already knew it. Like, we're discovering it right now.
You know what? We're the people's people.
Oh, we totally are. I agree.
We're on your listener. We're on your level.
Oh yeah.
We don't talk down.
No.
So here we go. So I believe it's Paul Malinowski, the producer, was responsible for getting another major name into Deathline. His first film as a producer was the 1964 Italian-lensed chiller Castle of the Living Dead, starring Christopher Lee as the villainous Count Drago.
Aha.
Quote, Paul was having dinner with Christopher Lee one night, Sherman says, who's Sherman, the director, and told him, I'm doing this movie with a young American director and Donald Pleasance. No, Sherman's not the director. Never mind. Sorry. Christopher Lee said, if I can have a scene with Donald Pleasance, I'll be in your movie, as long as I don't have to wear fangs. So we came up with a scene for him and Donald that did not previously exist in the script. And Siri and I wrote the part of this upper-class MI5 guy who really nails the whole class distinction thing.
And there you go. Bada bing, bada boom.
But you kept saying Sherman's not the director. Gary Sherman is the director of Deathline.
He is the director.
I know, but you said he
but
wasn't.
Then why is he...
I'm 100% sure Gary Sherman directed this movie.
He did.
So why would Gary Sherman talk about he's doing this movie with the young American director?
No.
Maybe it's a mystery.
Oh, maybe Malinowski. Paul met him and said, I'm doing this movie with an young American director. Got it. Here we go. Sorry. Hey.
You don't have to reread it. Don't reread it.
It's been a long day. I had a little bit of whiskey before we started, so I'm not.
Oh, I had vodka.
Nice. So a little relaxed and loosey-goosey.
Oh, man, you are loosey-goosey.
I will note that Gary Sherman also directed Poltergeist 3, Vice Squad, and Dead and Buried.
Yeah, I'm a huge...
Dead and Buried is awesome.
I'm a huge fan of Vice Squad. That is a mean movie that I like. If we want to... So people are like, oh, Brad didn't like Love Camp 7. He's not hardcore. I love Vice Squad, and that movie is mean as fuck. So,
because Brad, to be a horror fan, you gotta be hardcore.
I have to love brutality. Yes.
So hard.
So I really like Deathline, and Sean, you need to be honest. I really like Deathline. I like how the sense of dread kicks in. I like that, that intermix with Donald Pleasance being kind of a dick, where the comedy aspect comes into play. I kind of like how there's this maybe some exposition between this cannibal family that has existed that's slowly like
the exposition that's is that the exposition you're talking about?
That is verbatim 2 lines in the movie right there.
All right, but you
hold on. I need to be pounding like a raw some flesh.
Hey, there's movies that
how's that?
You're sounding like Elephant Man now.
Yeah. You can have 2 characters do sign language on a film and they get a point across. It gets the point across because there is that relationship between them. Whether it's, an evil past, but there's nothing, it doesn't ever seem like they're, like when they're together, kind of the evil subsides. And the cannibal, you don't really think of it. It kind of humanizes them a little bit.
Definitely.
And then you have like that long, my favorite shot of the movie is when they go around in the room, basically showing all the bodies, and then they go up to him and, she's laying there. I like that because, it does humanize those 2 characters for a split second, and to the point where they're not really scary, but then he gets scary again when after things happen and he gets out. Like, it gets a little frightening. There's the subway attacks are, I think, very well done and creepy and frightening. And when he just starts yelling, "Mind the doors," I thought that's a great sequence. It's when he says that, like, it's kind of funny at first, but then it just gets creepy because I imagine just in the fucking subway hearing that, someone saying that. I think that is kind of dreadful. And you get to see that with the characters, like when they hear that, the sense of dread that overcomes them. So I like the film. Yeah, it is a little bit slow to start, but I think it has a lot of kind of different feelings and different, different aspects of it that I really like between the comedy and the horror and kind of just the sense of dread. Anya, what's your take on Deathline?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think that to build upon what you said, that there is definitely an interesting narrative going on with these underground cannibal people. One where I would contrast it with The Hills Have Eyes, where they're the dregs of society, they're the forgotten, and they're definitely humanized, like you said. They live down there for generations until there's pretty much one dude left. And rather than simply making him a villain, the film kind of personalizes him with this grief over his lost partner and this loneliness as he screams into this hollow, echoey chamber. And there's also kind of a Bride of Frankenstein feel to it as he kidnaps a young woman and holds her captive. He tries to kind of use her as a replacement for his dying dead partner. And through only grunts and gestures, he conveys his intentions, like, I'm here, you're here, because I dragged you here against your will. We can make beautiful flesh-eating music together, let's do this. And it's this bizarre version of those Pepe Le Pew cartoons. And kind of like those cartoons, the female, she's having none of it. She's having absolutely none of it. And I think that Hugh Armstrong, the guy who played the man in this movie, he does a really good job in his role. He deserves a little bit of kudos for pretty much grunting his way through the whole role, but still bringing a little bit of humanity to it.
Yeah, and they have those, and they're basically, like, even though, like, they're mumbling and they're making noises, there's still that conversation. I mean, you gotta think of history of two people. Like, you can have a conversation with somebody just by looking at them, by body language and anything else. And we've watched movies like that, between silent films with text coming up on the screen to, a film like The Tribe where, everything is, it's a really hard watch if you've never, I don't really want to ruin The Tribe for anybody, but The Tribe's the same way. I mean, there's no lines of dialogue in that film. It's just, sign language and, people communicating other means. So, and I think with that element, they can humanize those two characters, where it's like, because if you just saw two fucking batshit people eating people, and then got together and just talked, they would still be evil. Like, we have the fucking, natural born killer fucking, duo or something like that. There's at least she's hurting and he understands that. And, even though they're evil and they're eating people, even though they probably can't help it, because maybe that's how they were raised.
Right, that's all they know.
Yeah, that's what we know. And I think not too many horror films go that route. The evil person is always evil. And I think when they humanize the villain, it makes it a little bit different watch. I don't know if I can't really say, like, if he was always, like, let's say the character was living in the shadows the entire time, and it was kind of, he wasn't revealed until the end, he would be that dark and brooding character that would be really scary, that you would be hearing, yell, mind the doors, or scraping something along the wall, like fucking Freddy Krueger. That would be frightening. We don't get that. We get him first and foremost out there on the screen, in a very well-lit area, trying to comfort his wife. It's probably more than his wife, now that I think about it. It might be a little bit more relationship right there. But still, like, I don't know, it's a different watch for me. You don't see too many movies that do that with villains. And that's why I really like Deathline. I couldn't tell you all that in text yesterday.
No, I'll be honest. I was pretty dismissive of Deathline. I loved Donald Pleasence's. I loved him in it. Like, I was like, just give me a detective story with Donald Pleasence. I didn't need anything else. I didn't like the young couple. I was like, what'd I say? I said, here we go. Donald Pleasence steals the film. Hobo killer, not scary. Young leads are dumb. That was my text to you immediately after watching it.
I don't think continue. Finish your analysis.
And then I said, take the killer and the young couple out of the movie, and I'd love it. LOL. I typed LOL.
Is that your film analysis? Are you done?
No, I'm not done.
Go ahead.
But like I said, like there's elements of it that I love, but the thing is that I loved about the film, the Christopher Lee and the Donald Pleasance scene, like Donald Pleasance as the detective, like I loved him. For some reason, I didn't really like the man, didn't scare me. Like, I guess I didn't look at it because you guys are kind of looking at him like as a sympathetic, villain in many ways. And you're kind of, like looking at his situation and kind of having sympathy for him. And I just didn't at all. I was just kind of very dismissive of it. I was just like, it didn't really do anything for me. So it's interesting hearing your guys' takes on it, which I can totally see that now thinking about it. But it's one of those that I would definitely, I want to dive into it more. I think there's the more of the history behind it and everything to me, because I don't think it's a bad movie. It just didn't hook me. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't have too much to say. I mean, it's fucking Gary fucking Sherman.
I know it's Gary Sherman. I like his other films more than this one. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sorry.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
I can have my own opinions, Brad.
No, you can. It's just, I don't know. I feel no. I'm just saying. Like, I feel that Gary Sherman and even the team, the actors, they brought something really special to the table. Mm-hmm. That horror movies, honestly, you could probably count in all your fingers and toes how many horror films actually do take this route, and there's not too many, and that's why I like it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right. Like something like even in Rob Zombie's Halloween, when they try to humanize Michael, but he's still just a little shit. I think that's kind of where it fell. But I think characters can be scarier if you get to know them. Maybe their motivations a little bit more, rather than just being the guy that lurks in the shadows. I think knowing who your killer is a lot more frightening. Because who's scarier, the Zodiac or Ted Bundy?
How about both? I'm scared of both.
No.
What's a bad example? Yeah, both.
I don't know if that's a bad example.
But maybe the Zodiac a little more, because the Zodiac could still be out there. It's Ted Cruz.
No, but okay.
Sorry, maybe old political joke from last year.
But I know what you're getting at. Yes.
Maybe I'm alone on that one, but I think knowing people, their background in history and motivations, it's a lot more. That's a lot scarier than thinking of walking down a dark street at night. For me, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Like I'm like a bit bummed that I didn't, it didn't hook me as much. But it definitely, like, I think that there's, pardon the pun, there is meat on the bones of this film. And I think that it's one. I know.
Jesus
Christ. But I think
it's waka waka.
I wasn't trying to make a joke. I was just, I couldn't think of anything better to say. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just run with this. But I think there's a lot to chew on.
Oh my God!
See, that was bad.
Just tell us what the fuck you're gonna say.
Cue the Fozzie Bear gif. There needs to be more.
No,
there needs to be more.
Anya and I agree. There needs to be more Fozzie Bear Waka Waka gifs. I would use the shit out of those. I got a lot of dad jokes, everybody. I would use it for every single dad joke.
Well, this is one of Edgar Wright's favorite horror films. I will note.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I can see why. I think this is a gem that more people need to see. I will say, for people who haven't seen this movie yet, that it is a little bit more police procedural than it is cannibal film. I don't want people to go in there expecting Cannibal Holocaust or The Hills Have Eyes. It is not that movie. It's definitely a little more slow building, and it's more tragic than those two films. So don't go in expecting.
Well, now you guys got me like wanting to watch this again. I need to reevaluate this.
Maybe you should.
I mean, you should.
Damn you guys.
I don't know if it's a damn, but yeah, I remember even.
No, you both make really good points.
I see this. I think when Edgar Wright did his top like 1,000 films of all time. This was one of the ones that was on there, and I was really happy to see. There was like 2 films that I was really happy to see on his list because I always thought they weren't talked about enough. And I think the other one's a Blue Underground movie. Oddly enough, it's Raw Meat and Venom with shit. I just forgot the names. God damn, the guy that's in The Devils. Big fucking mustache. God damn it.
Oliver Reed.
Yeah, Oliver Reed and wow, I guess I'm awful. I'm an
you
awful
are
person.
on a roll today.
It's not. Is it not Klaus Kinski? Is it Klaus Kinski?
Yeah, Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, Klaus
Oliver
Kinski.
Reed.
Yeah, Oliver Reed. So yeah, he had both of those films, and I was like, "Fuck," So
Is that what
I've always liked? What?
Can you say that again?
I say that now. Yeah, I can't repeat it. It's got to be natural. But yeah, he's. I don't know. I love both of the movies, and I think Venom is a Blue Underground release, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, hell yeah! They had the special edition. They're just getting ready to release the single disc of edition, or they just released the single disc stripped down version of Venom. So if you missed it the first time, at least you can grab the movie.
Out of all the movies we're talking about today, this is the one that I would recommend over any other one. I like this one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Cool.
Don't listen.
I can respect that.
It was good.
And that's the thing. For some reason, I just didn't fucking get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe it's me.
Yeah, movies.
It's not you, it's me.
Movies aren't for everybody, or this movie isn't for everybody. It's understandable.
But there's a lot I did enjoy. So no, I mean, I really, really appreciate your guys' takes on it, and I would imagine most people who listen probably will side with both of you as opposed to me. I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit this episode.
Oh, I think we all agree though that this is top notch Donald Pleasance. This is good Donald Pleasance.
Oh, fuck yeah, yes, yeah. Yes.
Donald.
Yeah, if you're studying Donald Pleasance, this is probably one of his my favorite roles he's ever done. So
it's pretty goofy.
It's fantastic. So this disc is pretty stacked. It has an audio commentary with co-writer and director Gary Sherman, the producer Paul Maslansky, and then assistant director Louis Moore O'Farrell. There's also an interview with Sherman and a couple of executive producers. There's a few interview with Hugh Armstrong, and then an interview with David Ladd and again Paul Maslansky. Ooh. And they got a shit ton of other things, radio spots, TV spots, and all that stuff. So they stacked this one. Like, this is one that I, with the shit that I've given it, I would definitely dive into all this stuff to hear everyone out, because for me, like, I would never write this film off. Like, it's something that I definitely would want to dig into a little more, even if I didn't like the film as a whole.
You know what you might like? It's a Diodato film. Donald Pleasance, Michael York, and Edward Finch. She's in it too. It's
Oh, you had me at Edwin.
Edwin.
That's the name. Edwig Finch. I'll say it really fast.
Stop. Phantom of Death, I think it's called, where he plays a detective as well, and Michael York is the lead in it, and it is really good. I think you would enjoy that one if you like Donald Pleasance being kind of like that type of character.
Donald Pleasancey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we on next?
First, the Fox. Then, Teresa and Isabel. And now, 99 women without men. Warm flesh and blood behind cold iron bars. Driven beyond the limits of endurance. Forced to perform degrading acts which strip them of all humanity.
Oh yeah, 99 women.
Well, let's talk about 99 women.
I've seen 99
I haven't seen it, but let's talk about it.
And then there
was sure.
Yeah.
Stendhal too. Well, am I the only one who watched 99 Women?
No, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So this one, yeah.
I didn't like it, so.
let's jump into.
Well, I think this is a good comparison
Jess Franco.
with Love Camp 7 and then 99 Women. They're both women in prison films, but have a different reason why they're in prison. So I mean, we did talk about the Nazi stuff, and I think we both agreed, kind of the history of the Nazis, how we have a different outlook on the movie, maybe. Yes. Well, this one does not. So, what was your thing on this? What was your opinion, and why didn't you like it?
Now, this is a Jess Franco movie, and a lot of people really like this director, and I do too, for the most part. This one just didn't hit all the bases for me. It was also known as Isle of Lost Women, Prostitutes in Prison, and The Hot Death, to give you an idea of what kind of movie you're getting into.
The Hot Death?
The Hot Death, yeah. I prefer Prostitutes in Prison. Let's get down to it,
Damn.
Shall we? Now, in this movie, there's a girl named Marie. She's the new inmate, and she arrives at this island prison in the women's sector and gets the number 99. And the inmates are controlled by this sadistic lesbian warden named Thelma Diaz, and Governor Santos is her boss. And they're submitted to torture and rape and lesbianism. And the minister...
Lesbianism!
Yes.
Is that the way to say it?
With an exclamation point, like a Batman insert. When the Minister of Justice replaces Diaz with Leonie? Some chick. Marie believes that her life will be improved and that her case will be reopened. Now, this is a classic women in prison film, and the role of the director, the woman director, is played with some very sadistic zeal. I'm loving that. I like a good woman director who is brutal. I don't know why, I just do. And it's nice to see a woman villain doing the brutalizing in the genre. This movie is porn. It is straight up porn. I'm going to tell you right now. That's what this is. This is what you're getting into. And that's not bad. That's not a mark against the film. I have no problem with it. We don't kink shame here. I don't know how they do it.
You just sold 20 copies, by the way.
Right.
Did you know the hardcore shots in the French version were shot by Bruno Mattei?
Oh, there you go. There you go then. Now.
That's interesting.
The one beef that I had with this film is that the rape scenes are a bit #problematic. They're a bit problematic. I think that for Franco, it's not, my pages are crinkling. It's not enough that these women are graphically raped, but he decided to go full problematic by kind of filming the rapes in such a way as to lessen the brutality of the act by drowning out the woman's cries and screams with this beautiful soft music. And it's the same music that they used for these consensual or masturbatory sex scenes, and it's really unsettling. I didn't like it at all. It really took me out of the rising mojo of the film. The rest of it is great. It's straight porn. That's what you're getting. And I'm okay with that part. And I'm even okay with the brutalizing and the flogging and the punishments that the women receive. I'm all about it. That's great. But these rapes were really weird. There's even one chick that gets raped as she gets knocked out. And this dude just kind of goes to town on her. And I was like, I'm not down with this. I'm not enjoying this movie anymore. Now.
Did you watch the French version or the,
I did watch the French version.
Or I guess with I
did.
Okay, so that's the X-rated version of the film is the French version with the inserts by Bruno Mattei, who he was one of the editors of the film.
It's weird that he shot the porno stuff and Jess Franco loves porno.
Right.
It's really bizarre.
Maybe he has a certain style.
Yeah, he brought in actors that weren't a part of the main production to do these inserts.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just
fascinating.
But I mean, other than those quick little rape scenes, it wasn't bad. I kind of liked the envelope pushing of it. I enjoyed the rest of it.
Other than the problematic rape,
probably pretty good. I want to read off some of these taglines for the film. They are glorious.
Go for it.
Okay, you got women behind bars without men. What do they do to satisfy their innermost female desires? All right. You got.
I wonder that.
Yeah. Due to the subject matter of this film, only the very mature will be admitted. That's your hook. That's the one that gets people in seats right there. Now, my favorite one is 99 women behind bars without men. That's it. There you go. This is what you're getting. Women with
I was hoping
behind bars
with the without men it would have been a little bit more sexy, but some dudes show up. So
they do. They show up
Yeah.
and show out.
Yeah, this is a first for me.
This or Orange is the New Black.
I would go with this actually over Orange is the New Black.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're not really wasting time with all that feminist characterization. It depends on what you want. If you're straight going for
Right.
sensationalism and lesbianism, this is what you want to go with. I mean, you get that in Orange is the New Black, but not as much. You got to wade through all this progressive woke shit that you're not going to get here in this 1969 movie. But if you want,
Right.
your characters to matter and whatnot, then I guess you can go with Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, so Blue Underground, I believe, released both of these. They're not the two versions are separate, which I thought was a little weird.
2 discs.
Yeah. So, they have a version that's with the French version, and then they just have the regular version.
Oh! So there's like what, a 2-disc edition and then a 3-disc edition?
No, they're both 3-disc, I believe, because and then there's a sticker on the front that says Notorious French version, and I think those actually might be sold out. I think it's due to get some in stores because the French.
You can get it direct from them.
Yeah, well, it's really is X-rated because it shows some shit. The other one, I have seen the French version because I looked it up because I realized that I just had the regular version, and I was like, oh, what's this French version about? And I was like, oh, there's not really much difference. Just some a little bit more nudie scenes.
So guess what? GrindhouseVideo.com has the limited edition in stock.
There you go. Get it, Mike. Get it. So yeah, I mean, I think the film's fine. I am not a hardcore Jess Franco fan. Out of 200 films, I maybe 10 that I've actually seen. I haven't seen his whole filmography, of course, because that would be insane. Yeah, he has a thing about him. I thought this was one of his better films that he doesn't go too overboard with. I think the film does go a little overboard at times because it takes you out of the movie a little bit. I don't know. If I'm going to watch a women in prison film, I want to see more revenge than I do kind of the hanky-panky and rapey scenes. I don't know. There's just... we've talked about it on the show a few, countless times with rape scenes. There's got to be at least have a little bit of substance to it rather than just being, rape for rape and being mean for mean. And that's kind of what these films do. So I tend to get a little bored, just because in these films it happens over and over and over again. It's one of the reasons why I don't like I Spit on Your Grave. Just because it's so drawn out. It's like, come on, just fucking get it over with and let's get to the revenge part.
Interesting.
So it's just one of those things where it's not terrible, but, I don't know, for obviously, I think for any fans of Jess Franco, this is a must. I think you will love it because it's total Jess Franco.
Definitely.
But I don't know, for people that are kind of on the fence, maybe think this is a women in prison film, the fucking Big Bird Cage and Women in Chains and Chained Heat and stuff. This is nothing like that. I think that might be the misconception. This is just Franco's mind, women in prison film. So,
yeah, if you're looking for straight women in prison, I would go with Women in Cages or something with Pam Grier in it. But but with this is porn, and it's fine. We don't kink shame. I don't kink shame. That's fine. Cool. Whatever. But that's the core of the film is you're getting on-screen penetration and, lots of lady bush and peen and all that stuff. So there's a lot of peen. There's a lot of it. And that's what you're getting here. And that's fine. Totally fine. But if you're looking for, your women in prison kind of film, this isn't exactly that. That's kind of a loose shell for the porn.
So now I'm curious how different the French version would be than the other version. If all the hardcore stuff is taken out.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically they're just extended. Would you say that, Brad? Because you saw the other version,
Yeah,
right?
no, I watched clips of the French version because I wanted to see what I was missing, and it's just extended sequences with penetration.
Okay.
So it made matters worse. Because I thought I'd be missing some crazy cutting off heads or something like that, and I didn't get that.
Right.
Nope. More peen.
Okay. All right. X for peen, not for gore. I couldn't think of anything that rhymed.
I don't think there
Rammed.
Is there any gore?
Rammed.
I don't think there is any gore in this movie, is there?
No, there's not really. Not that I remember.
You get a little bit more in Love Camp 7.
Cool. That's about it. Yeah, I mean, the end of Love Camp 7 goes,
it gets bloody. Yeah.
It's a massacre. So, this one, there's an interview with Jess Franco. There's a interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Murders, Passions, and Delirious Cinema of Jesus Franco. And then there's not a lot of extra footage, footage other than this. But this, if you're getting the French version one, it's getting pretty stacked anyway. But it also does come with a soundtrack by Bruno Nicolai. I was going to ask both of you, what do you think of the soundtrack? Is it worth having a separate disc?
It's just one song that plays over and over again.
That's the vibe I got from it. I didn't even see anything distinctive. It's just one kind of porno. Okay. It isn't even really a porno song. There's no funky bass line to it or anything. It's like this after school special kind of flute.
It's like wispy?
Yeah, it's wispy.
Okay, late 60s wispy music?
Yeah. Kind of free love kind of music.
Yeah. Flowers and free love. Okay. All right. Well, I think most of these films you can grab over at grindhousevideo.com. Please send Mike some love and order your films through him. He, of course, is a sponsor of the podcast. We got to give him some love there. And also, I want to mention our other sponsors, coffeeshopofhorrors.com. You can use the coupon code Screamcast and get 10% off of your order. Huge thank you to Wolfman of Mars for providing the music. They have merch up on their Bandcamp. So wolfmanofmars.bandcamp.com. Grab a t-shirt and buy their music. Give them some love. And also, Kevin Spencer is responsible for the look of the website and our logo. Check his work out over at inkspatters.com. Anya.
Yes.
Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for reintroducing me to Raw Meat, which is the title I will go with from now on. In my mind, Death Line doesn't exist. It is Raw Meat.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And thank you.
And again, where can people find you online?
AnyaWrites.com. That's Tanya without the T. ANYA Writes.com. And Daily Grindhouse is where I have my weekly column.
Awesome. And of course, Twitter, Bookish Plinko.
Absolutely. That's where you'll find most of my shenanigans. I'm rarely on Facebook, not really on Instagram all that much. But Twitter, that's where you'll find me acting a damn fool. Bookish Plinko.
Thank you for hanging out with us, and we will we'll have you on again soon.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. Thank you.
I think all these women need to come back. We've been I think we're 3 for 3 now, Brad, with some awesome guests.
Some of my homegirls on here.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank all of you for listening. We will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.
oneofus.net has been your one-stop shop for all things geek for years. But there's a side to them many of you have never heard. The subscription side. Subscribe and listen to great podcasts like The Breakfast Pub, The Original Gentleman, and the Watch a Movie With Us series. Head on over to oneofus.net and don't forget your towel.